I'm Susan Littlefield. Let's do a review of what we've been seeing in the agricultural markets for today. Joining me is Kyle Bumsted, and we're going to take a look at kind of focusing on this cattle complex at the moment. And I know, Kyle, you talked about there's a little bit of pressure maybe happening on these cattle as we head towards the weekend.
Well, that's right, Susan. We did see some pressure here on Thursday, and we're seeing a little bit of follow through selling here on Friday as well. Now, yesterday, these March feeder cattle, there's still the lead contract here. They closed into new 4-day lows. So that did potentially open up the door here to some more technical selling. Now, what I'm really more interested in here is watching how the weekly charts set up, how we finish out the week. Now, we're trading inside last week's range here. We haven't taken out last week's highs. Haven't taken out last week's lows as far as on the weekly chart, but we do have an inside week going right now, and it looks like a lot of indecision right now at this point in time on the weekly chart. So there is a lot of chatter out there that moving here the next couple of weeks that feeder cattle, there's going to be a lot more feeders come to town here, especially in the southern plains, and even up here in the north, there's quite a few feeders on the list, and a lot of folks have gotten a lot of cattle bought here the last couple of weeks. And talking to the order buyers and talking to some clients out there, they're thinking feeders might soften up here the second half of January. And history tells us that that does happen from time to time here, that feeders do soften up here the second half of January. So what also I'm watching here is how these deferred live cattle contracts, as far as like these March, April, and early May feeders, how they react as this June and August board out there as far as the fat cattle goes. So speaking of fat cattle, we traded a lot of cattle at 204 this week. And today they've backed those bids on down to 203, and they're moving some cattle at 203. So maybe the cash market has put in a short-term top here, but I am really, really concerned here how the technical picture finishes out here the week, Susan.
Any concerns for you from a market perspective with all the talk of the Arctic blast hitting such a wide swath in the middle of the U.S.?
Yeah, that's a lot of talk here, but I don't really see any moisture forecast with it, so it doesn't look like we're going to get several feet of snow or several inches of snow. Just cold weather. I mean, the cattle are adapted to some cold weather here. Yeah, it's going to be cold, but we're kind of adapted to cold weather here, and the cattle, I don't think they're going to really, it's not like they're going to be in a blizzard and so far, but it's not those forecasted storms that you got to worry about. The ones that are forecasted for 4 or 5 days, it's the ones that pop up overnight, so anything could happen.
Very well, true. By the way, folks, you can catch Kyle Bumsted as he joins me later today on the Channel Final Bell. And of course, you can always pick up the Channel Final Bell podcast on our website at ruralradionetwork.com. I'm Susan Littlefield for the Rural Radio Network.